Aloha, everyone. Hi, I'm Becky. For those of you that don't know me, I am the executive director here at the Hawaii International Film Festival, or HIF. It is honestly such a pleasure to welcome you all into our brand new space. This is not what it's going to look like. We are still very much in the process of renovating and creating the space. So hopefully the next time you see it in a few months, it will look completely different, but still just as cool, but without these like horrible lights and less white. So thank you for coming. This was sort of like a sneak peek of the space, and we just really wanted to use the opportunity of everyone being in town to do an event here. We're so happy that so many of you are in town for FestPac. It's been such an incredible week. And HIF was able to partner with PIC, Pacific Islanders in Communication, to host a number of screenings this whole week at FestPac, and we still have 2 more screenings tomorrow. So if you're free, 1 p.m. and 3:30, be sure to check that out. It's on the 3rd floor in the Hawaii Convention Center at the Amawani Theater. They are features and shorts from Pacific Islander filmmakers from multiple different countries. It's a really great program. And this panel tonight is part of our HIFILM Industry Hub here at HIF. We do quarterly events all throughout the year where we have networking and sort of panels or workshops to both create connections between international independent filmmakers and also like build skills within our community here in Hawaii. So we are really, really honored to have so many people from the Indigenous Film Academy of Taiwan with us here tonight. We'll hear more about that on the panel. And I'm going to introduce our artistic director, Anderson Lay, who is going to moderate the panel and introduce all of our incredible panelists. So round of applause for Anderson.
Thank you, Jackie. We're very honored to, I first got wind of the Indigenous Film Academy of Taiwan last year when one of the founders, Sayun Simung, approached me on email and to introduce herself and the organization. I was very intrigued because we have an annual spotlight of Taiwan, and we are always championing in our festival, championing Indigenous First Nations filmmaking from around the world, Pacifica of course, but also from around the world, and just to see a lot of alignment when it comes to the public and private sector in Taiwan to support not only filmmaking in general, but also all the different diverse voices in Taiwan, which is really great. And so it was an opportunity because of FestPac to have Sayun's team here, and I wanted to really provide a spotlight to the organization and also show, and also talk about kind of what their mission statement is and how they were inspired by other organizations around the world, especially from Oceania and whatnot, to kind of fuel kind of their initiatives, but also see what especially when there's a lot of allyship, there's a lot of co-productions, and there's a lot of soft money opportunities from around the world for different countries, say that or continents like the EU or Taiwan or even the Philippines, where there are a lot of government initiatives to support filmmaking, but not only from their domestic markets, but also filmmaking the co-productions around the world. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. So before we start, I'm going to just introduce each of our panelists. So we start off with Sayun Simung. Sayun is of the Tayal people, the Tayal tribe, which is one of the indigenous people in Taiwan, and graduated with a degree in radio and television from the National Taiwan University of the Arts. And Sayun worked as a reporter for the Taiwan Indigenous Television and Aero TV stations, and also served as a documentary production coordinator for the Public Television Serivce in Taiwan. Through the years of working there, Sayun decided to return to her village, Sqoyaw, to shoot Tayal culture that was about to disappear. It's really hearing the voices from indigenous, indigenous people in Taiwan. So Sayun established the Indigenous Film Academy in Taiwan in August 2022, hoping to gather more ethnic stories to share and learn from each other, to be a filmmaker and speak on their own. So let's give a round of applause for Sayun. And next panelist is Kainoa Rodolfo. Kainoa is the program manager for Pacific Islanders Communication, or PIC. Kainoa received a bachelor's degree in communications from UH Manoa. After excelling academically, Kainoa deepened his hands-on production experience while working for OEV TV and also working on various projects, including a short documentary called Ancestral Link, Keone Nunes. The short documentary was a component of the Na Lo'ea, the Masters episode featured in season 2 of PIC's Pacific Heartbeat National Television Series. Kainoa is also co-founder of the Hawaii Filmmakers Collective, which is down the street, a nonprofit dedicated to Hawaii's independent filmmaking community. Kainoa brings with him the experience of being a filmmaker, but also community facilitator experience with helping other filmmakers. So let's give a round of applause for Kainoa. And I'm very honored to have our special guest here, all the way from New Zealand, Aotearoa. Tongan Kiwi Vea Mafileo began her screen career in the art department, drawing on a degree in visual arts. A prolific artist, she was an art director for television and a run of short films. She's passionate about Pacifica arts, storytelling, and nurturing Tongan filmmaking. She's dedicated, always hardworking, and a valued team member on any project. It's like a CV. She has filmed extensively throughout the Pacific and in New Zealand as a production designer, camera person, reporter, director, and producer. Her feature documentary, For My Father's Kingdom, had its world premiere in the Berlin International Film Festival in 2019. And her short film documentary, Toa Ipua Huaga and Lilu, yeah, thank you, which she production designed in 2021. She made her TV directing debut on the groundbreaking miniseries The Panthers, a period drama about the Polynesian Panthers that were inspired by the Black Panthers movement in the US, which we also showed at HIF as well. She's the founder of Tonga's only film festival, the Nuku Alofa Film Festival, and a founding member of Pacific Island Screen Artists PISA. And this year, Vea's first dramatic short, Lea Tupu Anga / Mother Tongue, was chosen from 17,000 submissions to play at the 2024 Sundance Film Festival. So, a lot of people don't know about the indigenous people, the original, the Aboriginal people from Taiwan Island. How many tribes are there?
Officially 16 tribes. Officially, there are 16 tribes. I think right now maybe it's increased. maybe, yeah.
And we show many films here in from Taiwan here at HIF, and there are there have been like big commercial movies coming out of Taiwan. Very few, but have are based on like kind of history of indigenous people. Like Sidik Ballet is a good example. It's a Warriors of the Rainbow is the international title, or Kano is the baseball movie.
I know.
Yeah. Umin Boya, right, is the co-director. Umin Boya.
Yeah.
So we do see these instances of like indigenous stories in Taiwan, but still very few, right? So, and like you talked about earlier about how like Taiwan film production, of course, majority are Chinese, and then very few to have indigenous people on crews. So it's great to see your first year working on a short film, and everyone is 100% indigenous, right? So, can you talk about kind of what your kind of mission is coming to Hawaii to attend FestPAP? What is your goal here?
I can briefly to talking about the goal to FestPAP because we are the Oceania. We also island people. Actually, I live in mountain. In our language we don't have an ocean. We don't have an ocean this word. Yeah, but somehow we. I see the similar culture and also the culture of the colonial colonial history. We've been in the same situation. So I feel we can. To be a filmmaker, we're not just to making film to document the authentic story to our audience, also maybe a little bit with some responsibility for us. Of course, my friends, they are non-Indigenous. They say, relax, chill, don't be so serious. Yeah, Indigenous. Yeah, but for me, no, it's not. Totally not. So because you don't been through this situation, so I think to express our inner voice, our true voice, to our audience know what exactly we are. So I forgot the question. My goal. So in the first pack, I saw a lot of different country and different brothers and sisters in the Oceania. So I kind of like to cooperate with each other, and also we want to learn from you and to have some workshop together. The workshop, I think it can be very wider perspective. For example, we're not just for making film. Maybe we can do some healing camp, something, yeah, or meditation, or we can go to the tribe, to the community, do some service for the community people. So to interact, because this is process, we have to understand each other. It takes time, but the point is, if we willing to do it, yeah, I think that's the point. You have the heart, you have the idea, but you have to practice. Yeah, otherwise you just speak and saying. So this is my goal, one of my goals.
Yes. And so for the workshop, do you have it in your village, or where do you have it, in the mountains? Where in Taiwan, and also how long is the workshop?
Oh, okay. So first year I do the movie workshop. We're doing the drama. Originally I planned 1 month. Due to the budget, so it's quite spend a lot of money. So I make sure to 2 weeks, and Sqoyaw in my tribe, because in my tribe the whole community will help me to do this workshop. So I decided to the first year we hold the event in my tribe. So it's in the center of Taiwan. It's very high mountain, and actually our students, they are kind of a social phobia, and they are very shy. So first week they don't know each other, don't talk too much. But the second week they are very familiar to each other, and they are quite like because some people is living nearby the sea, ocean, so they have a ocean culture. But so they come to my tribe. They are, have to adapt to the environment. So it's take time. Yeah.
So I mean, Taiwan has a rich history of cinema, of filmmaking. You have the Taiwan New Wave. You have like master filmmakers like Edward Young or Ho Xiaoxian or Mi Zi or Simon Lang. So these are films that we show at the festival. You see in major festivals like Berlin or Cannes, Venice. I mean, even here in Hawaii, we show many of these films. Primarily the people the kids or the young people in your workshop, do they know these filmmakers, or what are they inspired by?
Of course, they do know the director, because they are kind of senior director. Yeah, and they are very artist, some kind of some ways artist. But I want to say something about the cinema history in Taiwan. Actually, over 100 years. But for indigenous, when indigenous people to take on camera to filming our story, our film, only 13 years. It's quite, it's a imbalance. Yeah, so we still have a lot of story, but so that's why one of the mission for Indigenous Academy is to I encourage the young filmmaker to making their film as many as possible, because to their voice to be heard in the mainstream society, especially in Taiwan, because we have a lot of people, Han people, Chinese people, Hakka, and actually we have a new immigrant come to into Taiwan. So it's kind of like yes.
So I mean, with Pacific Honors and Communication, the organization's been around for many years, and your work, aside from supporting and amplifying Pacifica voices, you're providing funding for documentaries and short features, you name it, and you have a broad swath of you have your basically your fingers in a lot of pies, essentially, right? So. And then also I know maybe a few years ago PIC was also doing these workshops around Oceania. Can you talk about? I think you went to Samoa, Tonga, Guam.
Yeah. So like the mission is building capacity, right? Creating an environment where people are familiar with the industry and familiar with the craft, and then empowering them to tell their stories. So once you can develop that and have a mass of people. Everyone has a story, so just being able to build that capacity makes it much more fruitful to have these films come out. So it starts with getting the people trained up, building capacity so that we can start feeding the masses.
I mean, there's also when you're going to do, being Pacific Islander is not a monolith, so there's a lot of communities and whatnot, and some communities this is new to them. Filmmaking is not a career, right? And then how do you kind of break that barrier to really kind of get them to come out of the woodwork to really be participating in these programs?
It starts with a few, showing the successes to that. So we have a lot of projects that are funded, and those individuals that get funded, their films do quite well. And then from that, the people who follow them or see them within their own community start wanting to jump in as well.
And then can you talk about also, before you joined PIC, you co-founded Hawaii Filmmakers Collective, right?
Yes.
And HFC. And then can you comment on kind of what was your game plan, so to speak? Why did you start it? And
the reason why I started Hawaii Filmmakers Collective is because I wanted to make a film myself, and being young and just getting out of college, I'm trying to hey, can I jump on your program? Hey, can I jump within your production company? No. What's your experience? I just graduated. I have a student film. That doesn't count. But I was running into a lot of roadblocks, so in my head I said, I'm going to create my own opportunity. I'm going to create my own experience. And so that birthed it out with me talking to another friend who was going through the same thing as me. He was a Swiss citizen, but he moved here, now he's a US citizen. He was experiencing the same thing, 10 years older than me. There's these barriers that are set up within the industry because of, I guess, how it was before. It's changing all now because of the internet. You don't have to go through the same pathways. You can create your own opportunities and tell your own stories. You don't have to have some studio or some production house saying, yes, you can tell your story. You can go and create it now because we have the technology. All the information and knowledge is out there for you to access. We have organizations like PIC that provides training, provides funding, provides guidance. And it's not just, because there's not organizations that just cater to what I'm trying to say, there's way more organizations now that if you are part of some type of community, there is support for you. So it was birthed out of me trying to solve a problem for myself and gain the experience that I needed to be legitimized, I guess.
And then so for PIC, you have various programs to apply for funding. Can you maybe quickly or briefly just go over the annual programs that you have right now that are active?
Yeah, so we provide funding for shorts and long-form documentaries. So we used to do a shorts fund once a year. Now we've moved it to twice a year along with our media fund. So we have a shorts fund and a media fund. Our shorts fund is for anything under 20 minutes that can get awarded $25,000. Our media fund is any documentary hour to a half hour, and you get $65,000 for that. And you can come to us twice in an application. What else? So those are our funding sources. We also have other things, programs for like special projects or acquisition. So if you have a film that you already created and it's finished, it comes out across, but we may acquire it from our distribution channel. So we have a YouTube, we have our digital series called Pacific Pulse, and then we also have our television broadcast series called Pacific Heartbeat.
That's on the World Channel, or
it's on the World and it's all
over.
It's PBS.
PBS.
Yes, it's on
okay, got it. That's exciting. So I mean, you're and then you there at PIC, are you going through all the applications and?
Oh yes, yes. Since we started doing a very heavy push with like social media and really trying to reach new demographics, new populations, our application has doubled in both. So we're seeing a lot more projects, a lot more fresh, new ones, not the same old, ethnographic, cultural things. And we're getting fresh stories from the Pacific and from all different communities.
Are you seeing more from other communities that you don't see in years past? So maybe comment on which ones are kind of, which parts of Oceania you see?
So there's Papua New Guinea. We've got a couple of those. Rapa Nui, Solomon Islands. So these are ones that are on the fringe, and you wouldn't think like, oh, there's some they're receiving our information, and it's getting through to them. So now they're applying. When before, I don't feel like that community probably didn't feel like people were confident enough to apply for something like this. But we're seeing a lot more people like trying to put their name in the hat.
Yeah, because you see, like, for example, like Tahiti, right? It's like, was colonized by the French. So you see a lot of these ethnographic documentaries, and it's all from Arte France. It's all usually just a, French person there making these films. But you see more, like native representation behind the scenes, right? Behind the camera.
Coming from the perspective of the culture itself, not like somebody peering in. It's more of like someone showing like the way they see the world. It's not somebody else, And now we see the people of the so like giving them a true sense of what's happening.
Yeah, and I'm seeing. I mean, just from our like we get just thousands of entries for our call of entries, and just from the Pacific Islands, we see some really cool, unique, innovative, strange.
They exist. All those things
it's
exist.
really cool stuff. Yeah. So, and do you see it's like more like, is it because there are more film schools, or there's more media classes in schools? Or do you see the?
I think it's a bunch of things. I think there's more initiatives to train people. I think there's also the internet. People are also seeking information for themselves. They're also seeing
YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how people have no film school experience, but they can put together these amazing pieces. And it boils down to like also being able to see yourself in media. Like you feel more empowered. Like I see myself. I can totally relate, or I have the possibility to do that. Like just having a representation in front of you.
Great. Yeah, you're on the hot seat now. So, couple of things. I mean, you're multi hyphenate. You've worn many hats over the years behind the camera and whatnot. But I want to talk about three things. You as a organizer, community organizer, and talk about PISA first of all, and then we're going to talk about the Panthers, and then we're going to talk about your Sundance short. So, can you talk about PISA?
Sure.
What does it stand for again? Sorry. Just.
Kia ora koutou katoa. So PISA stands for Pacific Island Screen Artists.
Yes.
Yeah, and basically it was over COVID. There was a group of 5 of us, 3 Samoans, actually 4 Samoans and the Tongan, who, you know, we had been in the industry a number of years, and we had all made feature films, but there's been a massive gap from our earlier feature films to when we started making feature films, and we just realized that we needed to create a space that upbeat our younger ones coming through, because we felt like we didn't have it when we were coming through the industry. And you know, it's similar things to what you're doing, and what, you know, it's the support systems, it's building the community, the connections, because, you know, we all know the film industry all over the place, and especially, well, in New Zealand, is very cliquey. You've got to go to film school, all this jazz. It's breaking the mold a bit now, but it's still very much the same. And with us, we actually need to upskill quick, fast. Like, we don't have years, like everyone else has got like over 120 years of us of cinema education, experimentation, all the things, and so we need to very quickly upskill ourselves so that we have these stories that we can put out there from our own lenses, because, you know, it's about time that these things come through from our own perspective, so that we have authenticity around our storytelling. So that's Pisa.
Pisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it was also, you kind of created during the pandemic, right? So
Yeah.
was it a lot of meetings on Zoom and?
Yeah, you know, we built our constitution. I guess it's similar to Guild. You know, we have the Pan-Asian Screen Artists Guild in New Zealand, and then we have Noho Whakaari, which is the Māori one, so they were missing the kind of Pacific space. And so, yeah, a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of going through paperwork.
I mean, you're very busy filmmaking, but are you still as active in the PISA's programs, or, you know, building kind of the guild, getting membership, or?
Well, we're trying to bring the next board through, so we're trying to kind of mentor that space and find people to replace us, which I think is actually going to be maybe another couple of years. We'll have to stick it out. But also, I think if I leave, I'm going to get a little bit FOMO. But also, what we have started as well is the Tuttle Patch Creative, and that's an initiative with me and my siblings. There's my 2 sisters there, Emily and Elizabeth, and that's a very grassroots community studio space, and that's about upping our community. But also making it open so people can actually see, there's other parts to the filmmaking, just not camera, not being in front of the screen, not being the director. There's like the builders, the sanders, not sanders, well, yeah, that's part of building, but unit, you know, all these other tools and nuts and bolts that go into the whole ecosystem, so that when we really get our S word together, our crews will be full Indigenous crews. That's the big aim for us around this. So, and PISA is based in the Tuttle Patch, so that's a nice little connection as well.
And then talk about, you know, your foray into TV with the Panthers. That was, you know, it's a historical drama. I think it was like 6 episodes, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it was a mini-series about the Polynesian Panthers in the 70s, the Polynesian Panthers movement that was inspired by the Black Panthers. And, you know, it was great. It was really eye-opening. And it was like at the time of, like, you know, the dawn raids and, you know, police cracking down on and, you know, racism and cracking down and just basically just wreaking havoc, you know, in various specific communities in New Zealand. And, you know, these people were mobilizing to force against the government and whatnot. Can you talk about kind of like, I mean, New Zealand is unique in the sense that, you know, there is a lot of, I guess, a cultural push to really embrace Pasifika and also Indigenous voices. But for the Panthers, I'm sure it was still a challenge. I think budget and because of historical film and whatnot. Can you talk about kind of like just really quickly about your involvement and how it was making this film, this series?
Yeah, well, Panthers was quite, I think, revolutionary for the New Zealand TV industry because it was, one of the writers was a Tongan guy. Most of the crew actually were Pacific Islanders and not just the actors. I think most of the HODs were as well AMs. They worked on it. Emily's art director, well, she's a production designer as well. And so it really felt like going to work with your friends. But also I think there was just this kind of collective energy around making something that was our history, would go on into history. And, some bits were embellished as drama is, but the mawhana was there. So in Tongan, mawhana is the warm feeling inside. And I think that's really what came through in our in the series was that there was this kind of like, it was told in a very Pasifika way because everyone felt very behind set, on set, and watching this film, the series, the sense of unity and mawhananess. So yeah, it was great.
And then for your short, actually this is your first dramatic narrative short, right?
Correct.
And then Lea Tupu Anga / Mother Tongue, and it world premiered at Sundance, and you directed it, and it was written by an actress, Luciani Buchanan, who kind of like just really kind of hit the stratosphere because she's the co-star of this Netflix series called The Night Agent, which is I think wrapped season 2. But can you talk about kind of how you got into got pulled into directing the short?
Yeah, well, because back then documentary was my thing because we actually filmed it before I did the Panthers, and there's not many Tongan directors, so they kind of were like, "Can you do this?" Or Luciani, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." Oh, I don't know, drama. I'm fine. And so it was really, it was Tuto Toko, my sister. And I guess that kind of paid off. But I shot it like the week before I started the Panthers, and it was kind of like this jumping into the deep end of learning how to do drama. And then now I've got a short in with Pick. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pick. But see, Pick provides opportunities for all of us. It's not just all of us around the Pacific really appreciate Pick, and yeah.
And how was your first time at Sundance, and how was the premiere?
It was really amazing. I mean, I think one of the goals for me as a filmmaker is to make people cry, and everyone was crying, so I was like, yes. But crying in a loto mawhana way, not the sad way, the in a warmth way. And Sundance it was out the gate. It was snowing, and it was just like a movie set, a giant movie set. So it was a really fantastic experience, and I think it's having the opportunity to go to things like that, and as you were saying, letting other people see, oh, she's just the little girl from South Auckland, not little girl anymore, old, but you can do it too. And so I think it's very important that we just keep trying, and yeah.
And congratulations, and it's actually traveling all around the world, and then you heard it here first. It's going to be at HIF this fall. We're very excited to have this, but please don't publish that. Okay? So, but I just want to give you a heads up now. But so before we open up to questions from the audience, I just wanted to just talk about collaborations and whatnot, because PIC has just provided support over the years for for communities and also filmmakers from around the Pacific Islands, and but for Sayun, in Taiwan, can you talk maybe about kind of aside from you starting the Indigenous Film Academy, but there's also government initiatives in Taiwan. Can you comment about that? Like there's like through the Ministry of Culture and through TAICA and whatnot. So
You mean the funding?
Yeah, funding.
You mean funding?
Funding, yes. We all want funding.
Yeah, we need money to make film. Yeah. Actually, PIC is, I saw the funding, PIC is very good. And also, I know Sundance has funding for documentary, but it takes a long time to announce the final result. So I think 2 years, because my friend have got the funding, 2 years ago, And for Taiwan, of course I help the indigenous founded this platform. It needs money, so at first I applied for the funding for government. We have Indigenous Council, and also we have Indigenous Cultural Foundation, and they and also we have a cultural association in Taiwan. So we apply for the funding for the semester, the classes and workshop for this platform. But the budget is not too much. So I just mentioned that I originally want to make 1 month workshop, but due to the budget, only 2 weeks. So for indigenous, including making film, also this kind of a cultural event to empowerment our young generation filmmaker. This kind of event and these activities, there are some steady funding in Taiwan. And actually, Taiwan government is encourage us to apply. But in the other hand, sometimes it's like it's a welfare policy for indigenous. So it's a kind of a colonial welfare policy. So sometimes we have a limitation for what I'm talking about the story, but actually most of the time it's free. It's free.
Yeah. I mean, it's ever changing. Talk about, really quickly about, even the definitions of, Native and First Nations, and it's ever changing. New Zealand has many country-to-country treaties that apply. That qualify with the criteria with New Zealand Film Commission, for example. There's also, like in Australia, there's the Asian Pacific Screen Awards, right, in the fall. It's set in Brisbane, and then they have like also some funding opportunities there. Like there's a screenwriting competition where they can provide up to like $25,000 US for for the scripts that they choose. That's all open to all Asia and Pacific. That's all, the criteria is all on their website. But I think it's like ever changing. With Taiwan, for example, like through TAICA, the Ministry of Culture, I think it's TAICA, yeah. But also, even like, for example, Singapore has a lot of government funding initiatives, and they're focused on such a tiny island nation with like a very small, even Taiwan's a very tiny nation too, but there's more collaboration now with the opportunities for co-productions, right? So I think it's like as it's all depending on state to state kind of treaties, right? So and it's always changing, and so my point is that there are a lot of more soft money initiatives that you just have to do the research on, right? So before maybe we can start off with some questions from the audience for our panelists? Like, we can conclude the panel if anyone has any questions.
I want to answer and then.
Yeah, please.
Except the founding, we also have pitching.
Pitching, yes.
Yeah, we have pitching in Taiwan. And so, but it's not really easy.
Yeah, no, it's very complicated.
Most of the time,
yeah.
they got funding for the people. They directing the indigenous film, the indigenous story, but most of the time they all made by non-indigenous.
Mm.
So right now. So, but I think the thing will change. The situation will change.
Yeah.
Changing right now.
Kind of. I mean, for the projects that PIC is looking, what are kind of like what exactly are you looking for? I mean, aside from, or what do you see the trends?
Trends. We're really just looking for anything fresh and new that really highlights the Pacific Island experience. Things like a little more intimate, like getting to know individuals within the community, those stories that exist, that are unique, that we don't see, having more representation of those stories being told. Because you can only watch so many films with somebody, dancing hula. Like, we're gonna need new, fresh stuff, like give me something else. But yeah, fresh new stories that highlight the Pacific Island experience and what that means.
Yeah, like talking about just the breaking barriers. You look at this is very generalized. Thing I'm going to say right now is like looking like the oral traditions and storytelling in very specific communities, and then you look at filmmaking. It's been over a century of filmmaking. It's all from a Western perspective. You're looking at the kind of like the shackles, or the traditions of the 3-act structure, for example, and like how I mean, of course, like rooted in kind of like oral stories and whatnot through different communities, and maybe in Tonga, for example, it's different, obviously, right? So do you see that? How do you, authentic, I don't like that word, but telling these stories and not being shackled by kind of the Western modes of storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why we started up the Title Patch, was that, actually off the back of, I got a director's attachment on the Lord of the Rings series, and I just got 4 months to just observe, not work, not do anything, not have the stress of usually that you have going on set, but just to observe. And it was a very interesting time for me in understanding that, there's all these big, huge lights and all these big, huge things, but they were still getting it wrong. We turned up to the set one day, and this one of the directors, Wayne Yip, had said that he wanted the ship this way, but it was supposed to be the other way. And this is months of planning and massive amounts of teams and everything. And so it was really just a moment where I was like, man, you actually don't need all this. You just need a good story, and that's the basis of it. Really, is just good story. And so, where was I going with this? I think we have the opportunity to create the ways that we work on set. We have a holistic approach. We have the counselors on set. We do the things that we need to get us through the stuff, because there's a whole lot of sort of new stories and new traumas that are coming up through telling our stories at the moment that haven't been addressed. On Panthers was a generational trauma, and people on set were being triggered, but we need to learn how to api the people, which means to look after not just the actors, but the crew and support them through it. So it's all these kind of like value systems that we can bring onto our sets to make it a better place and bring them up whānau, you know, because at the end of the day, if you're not having fun creating and doing these things, then what are you doing? You should want to wake up and go, yes, I'm going to set today. Not like, oh my God, is someone going to yell at me today? Oh, you know? So I think that's really important because that's creating a different language on screen, behind the screen, but also you don't have to have these rules. I think in my documentary, I have like this one little drama scene. Was it a drama? You know, I mean, you know, yeah, but, and then everyone's like, oh, you can't have just one little drama scene in a whole documentary. And I was like, well, watch me. You know, like, breaking down those 3-act structures and making them fit our own narratives. And I think, you know, that's where it's really important when you do work with places like PIC, who understand around the funding that it doesn't have to fit in this Western model anymore. It's its own beast of its own. And we're just learning our cinema language. Like we're babies, we're infants in the game.
Any questions? Yes.
Aloha, Sayun. I'm going to ask a question which comes from a slightly different angle. There are so many indigenous languages in the Pacific. Like in Taiwan, there are 16 different tribes that are recognized, and the languages are not being used. Could somebody speak, or could you speak to the role of the film, indigenous film, in language and cultural revitalization?
Talking about talking in your kind of native language in the different tribes. Talk about making films to revitalize kind of their culture and speaking your own language, and what is that, maybe inspiring the young generation to tell these stories in the Tayal dialect or Tayal.
So for me, actually I making over five documentary feature length and also shorts, and my voiceover is speaking our native language, my Tayal language. But in Taiwan, because the new generation, they're like they speak native language is not really influent. So they I think they're more focused on the visual storytelling to instead of the speaking the native language. So I think this is one way sometimes because they can speak indigenous language instead with the visual. Yeah.
But you commented earlier about assimilation, right? And that's an erasure of culture and language or whatnot. And I think many communities have gone through, the Kanaka Maori, Maori, Tongan, it's like just through Western kind of colonization and whatnot. So.
Well, I was just going to say, the short film is actually around
Mother tongue.
Mother tongue.
Yes.
Is actually around the shame of not knowing your language, but actually at the heart of it, it's through offer and communication via other means. But yes, we should all try and keep our languages alive. But I think there's a very kind of shaming around not knowing your language, and for me, like I can't speak Tongan fluently, but when I was younger growing up, right, I remember my grandmother, she couldn't speak English, but she would like massage, she would massage my arm, and so for me, like if I ever feeling in a place of like, oh, I don't feel Tongan enough, I don't know my language, I could just like, but I have a very kind of cellular memory that goes, actually, your grandmother, she loved you and you're Tongan because of her. And, there's kind of like human sort of physicality things around things that we should look at too.
I'm going to be very revealing here, and then make this announcement now. I cried at your film. So, sorry. Good job. I think so. Anything? No other questions? Oh, yes, Sean.
Well, I want to ask, what is each of your personal visions or aspirations for the future of ASC?
For me, it would be like multi-million-dollar funded films and with all Indigenous crews and at all levels of the, all of them around the table as well. And yeah, I think that would be like a goal for me. Anything else? Am I missing something? I think that's the main thing. But also so that the money from our stories can filter back into our communities, and not just stop at the production company or some Hollywood whatever, but filter actually down to who owns the stories.
Yeah, the dream would be having essentially an industry where it is an economy based off our stories, based off the practice of making film or just content creating in general. That's the ultimate dream. When you can monetize that, there's a power with that. You can basically make whatever you want, whenever you want, not have the okay or green light because ABC to Disney said, okay, you can make a film. No, you have the power to not because you have the financial capital to do so. So for the future.
I suddenly think about one way to get funding. Just like right now I do to loan money with banking. It's kind of stupid, but I can work from the other job to do it. Yeah. So for the vision purpose, I think it is to because the field people to filmmaking in Taiwan, but right now we have a new generation. There's a lot. So through this platform, they can express their film to audience. In the past, maybe they don't have an opportunity to express, to show their works. So through the many screening, we have many interaction and also exchange of ideas. Maybe we can learn from each other and understand and also observe to learn.
I think just like, we show many films from various communities around the world and also here in Hawaii as well. And like, it's just the magic of, everyone, Gen Z, everyone, they just watch their films on their phone or whatnot, right? Or they go on a streaming service. But to actually show the student showcase at OPO Fest, to show their films on the big screen in a commercial theater, it's just magic, right? So I think that just something that feeling, right? So I think it's just just in a way, cinema is the church in that sense, and I think that kind of that feeling, kind of like just having the opportunity to share it with other people, and tell their stories, and then also what PIC is doing, what your organization is doing, what VEA is doing. It's just really investing back in the community and just increasing the representation, right? I mean, to not have 89% of the crew not be Indigenous, right? So I think it's like, or even going to various communities, like, and really educating the young filmmakers to really kind of see this as a potential career and whatnot. So finally, just to wrap things up, maybe start with VEA. If you want to plug anything, you want to just promote anything, or maybe just talk about what you're doing next, or maybe a project that you're working on that's going to be. I think the Channel Patch Collective, is going to do something.
Yeah. So we're actually here for the Art Summit because we got into the Triennale 2025, which will be in February. So we're just working through our project, but that's very exciting for us because it's even though we're artists individually, as a collective, we got chosen, so working on an actual artwork together, but I feel like it might be a space and we might be doing some collabs to create some stories, yes, so that's coming.
We just launched our first fellowship, the ENK for our fellowship, where we take in filmmakers, Pasifika filmmakers, and put them through a 6 months training.
Put them to the ringer.
Yeah, pretty much. And we connect them with mentors so we can guide them through the process. We just wrapped our spring funding call, but our next one will open up in August. So that will be both for our Shorts Fund and our Media Fund. Outside of that, I think HFC, we're going to have our pitch meeting at the end of the month, and then we'll also have a 72-hour film challenge as well.
This year we will do 3 days, 2 nights accompany class only for first and second year students, and also we have a movie forum. And actually, you just saw the stills, the photo still of the short film. Right now we are in editing production, post production. Right now we still find the funding, and also I hope we can finish. We can have a picture lock in the end of this year, and I also hope we can have an opportunity to share in Hawaii with all friends. Yeah, thank you.
And just really quickly, the festival is right around the corner. HIF 44. It's going to be in early October, October 3rd to the 17th. We're actually October 3rd to the 13th at Kahala theaters, and we go to the west side, and we're going to go on the neighbor islands throughout the rest of October. We have the very popular Pacific Showcase presented by Pacific Islanders Communication. And it's, a lot of the films that we're talking about are going to be part of that section. So yeah, just go to our website at hif.org. Become a member. We have some great programs, and we have these monthly screenings called HIF Selects. We have these free workshops and master classes through our HIFILM industry silo at HIF, and we're really investing in that, and also in education. Not only that, but aside from just exhibition, just showing films, we're really increasing kind of like investment into the community. So again, thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause for Sayun, Tainoa, and Tayal for being here. Thank you to Pasifika for bringing us all together, and enjoy.